Howdy, howdy, howdy. How are y'all doing? A good Monday evening to all of y'all. Welcome to Cliff Notes Live. I hope you're doing fantastic. Let me start off with a big old SKD 143. I love my wife. I love my kids. I love reality TV. I love you guys that hang out with me every Monday evening and those of you who watch on replay. And I love Big Brother. Yeah, I had some Big Brother fun this weekend. We'll talk about it. Went to a little casting. Before we go any further, no, I'm not naked. I got a shirt on. I really do. I realized as I was looking at this, trying to get going, that it kind of blends with the skin. So yeah, I should have worn red. It is basketball championship game tonight. And fortunately, it's not playing during my show. It plays right afterwards. Who was it? Was it Ma or someone else said, "Ben, don't be cheering for Duke"? Well, Duke's out of it because the University of Houston came back. So there we go. Terry Thomas saying, "How about the Cougs? Are you rooting for them?" Yes, indeed. I'm from Houston. The university is just down the road from us. So I'm rooting for them this evening. Before we go any further with any of that, let me go out there and see who all's out here because I see all kinds of names. Even though I was a little late getting started, sorry about that. I see all the names out here. I knew y'all could take care of it. Let's see who we got here. Karen Hummer. Karen, how you doing, my friend? Marilyn Sutherland as well. Howdy, howdy. Amanda, Ma, I knew you'd be out here. Howdy, Ma. Cindy as well. Hey, Cindy. Terry Thomas. Let's see who else we got out here. Colleen as well. Howdy, Colleen. Paul Long as well. Paul, howdy, sir. Jacqueline Newberry. Hey, hey, hey. Karen Loveland. Lynn Gideon. Y'all got all kinds of conversations going on. Sharon's gonna have to catch me up on this. Wyatt Garrett is out here. Howdy, Wyatt. How'd the concerts go, my friend? Lauren O, Markeitha Nard, Detroit Red, and C. Gabarino. Did I miss anyone? Brian Hostetter. Brian, I didn't want to miss you. I see you down there at the end as well. Welcome to all of y'all. I hope y'all had a fantastic weekend. I am very appreciative that I'm able to do the show this evening because I went out yesterday. Big Brother casting call in Dallas, Texas. Well, the Colony, a suburb of Dallas, but it's basically the same. Went to a casting call. Wasn't working or anything else. I just saw they were having, I told y'all last week, they were having the casting yesterday. I sent a thing to Jesse Tenenbaum saying, "Hey, do you mind if I show up?" No, heck no, come on up. So I came up and ended up staying from this casting started at 11 o'clock. It was supposed to end at 7. They shut down the line, but there were still people in line until 7:15 or so. I stayed the whole time. I talked to more people. I had more fun talking to all these people who are so passionate, so excited, so imagine what Christy from my season, manifest your destiny. Well, there were a lot of folks yesterday manifesting their destinies, and it all involved being in the Big Brother house. It was so much fun. I got there. I was not the only former Big Brother player there. Quinn was there from last season. First time I got to meet Quinn in person. We talked a little bit online and all that. First time I got to meet him in person, though. Incredible guy. I loved hanging with Quinn. He's from Oklahoma, so he drove down south. I drove up north. We met there in the middle, and the two of us spent, Quinn was there the entire time also. We spent the entire time talking to everyone, cheering them up, getting them all hyped up to ready to go in and talk before the cameras, but also talking about things they could say, things to focus on, and telling stories about Big Brother and things like that. It's just so much fun. But yeah, about 5 o'clock or so, the last couple hours, all of a sudden my voice started getting a little bit raspy, and I started getting a little bit worried about it. We got done at 7 or so, got in the car, drove home. It's about 4.5 hours to get back to Houston. Got here about 12:30 or so. Between standing up for 8 hours straight, talking the entire time, not eating or anything, I was wiped out. I was so folded up, I could barely get out of the car. It felt like I'd been hanging from a wall for 8 hours or so. Yeah, it was fun. They need to have that as a Big Brother HOH competition. Just you have to stand there and talk the whole. If you stop talking, you're out. I got a voice. I think I could probably win that competition. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. We saw a lot of folks. And I know some of y'all out here. Hunter Green was there. I got to meet Hunter for the first time. Man, he was ready to go as well. So met Hunter, met a few of y'all as well. Met a whole lot of new friends. It's just so much fun. Now I'm getting pumped up for the new season of Big Brother. Big Brother 27. Isn't that something? It's starting to feel real now that they're doing the casting. I know there's casting in Virginia. There's going to be one in New York. So y'all get ready. Maryland Southern is saying, loved your Instagram with all the hopefuls for the new Big Brother season. Getting excited. Yeah, me too. I posed for so many pictures, and yeah, I couldn't get across to everyone I talked to, and I understand, but I couldn't get across to them as excited as they were to post for pictures and all of that. I was a fan way before I ever did the game of Big Brother, and I was standing in that line. I told them, said, I'm excited to be here because I did a casting call just like this one. I saw Haley Broker at my casting call. I was so excited to get a picture with her, and so don't think it can't happen, because it truly can. And now the foot's on the other shoe, shoes on the other foot, whatever. I was the one posing for pictures and encouraging everyone else, and it was just a very cool moment. I did think about wearing a disguise and trying to try out, but yeah, I don't think this accent and this talk and this voice is going to fool a lot of people. So instead, I just was outside cheering everyone else on. Just so you know, as far as the casting call goes, every person who went in there signed their life away with a waiver. But once they did that, they had 1 minute in front of a camera to say why they would be good on Big Brother, tell about who they are, what makes them unique, some stories about why they'd be great on the show. If you look at my Instagram, I think the very first or second post on my stories for the last 24 hours is the little blurb that they had of, when you audition, say this, this, and this. So if y'all want to send in a video, that's probably not a bad idea to look at it as well. But yeah, so many people so excited. People dressed up. I would love to have, there's probably several thousand people there. I would love to have a house just filled with some of the eclectic, fun people dressed up to the nines, people dressed up in all kinds of stuff. Amazing variety showing up at one of these things. All different people, different orientations, ethnicities, rural, urban, everything in between. And we all have one thing in common, and that's loving Big Brother. It pulls the family together, right? It was a lot of fun. I had a blast. All right, we'll continue to talk about that. We got some reality TV as well. So let me look at a few of y'all's. Colleen saying foot's on the other shoe. I knew it's something like that. A few questions on here. Maryland is saying record flooding in our area. It's a mess. Well, I hate to hear that. What area are you in, Maryland? But refresh me on that. But there's always something going on with this weather. You just can't quite get a handle on it. I left Houston. We left on Saturday. We went up, got a hotel Saturday night, had a fancy dinner and all that, and then did the casting call yesterday. We left Houston warm, no worries at all. We did hear it's going to be a little cold in Dallas, so we brought jackets. We started driving up there. We didn't go through just rainstorms. We went through hailstorms of hour or two north of Houston. I'm thinking, what in the world am I getting myself into? We show up Saturday night. It's by then gotten down to 40 degrees or so, maybe even a little colder than that. And it's misting. I go to look at where this casting call is going to be. It's outdoors. I said, all right, you're only going to have the hardcore Big Brother fans showing up for this casting call with this kind of weather. Next morning, it's still freezing cold. It did stop raining, but still freezing cold. So at least I had a jacket and all of that we brought with us. But it didn't stop anyone. There are a lot of people that were they were shivering. I don't think it's in anticipation or nerves from going on to the show. I was just trying to stay warm. So yeah, it was a little cold for Dallas this time of year, but it didn't stop anyone from showing out. I think that line went forever. Every time I look up, the line was just going further and further away. The people, it started at 11 o'clock. The first people in line that I talked to had been there since 6:30 in the morning. So they had waited 4.5 hours just for the line to open up. By the time you got to the very end, I think it was only a couple hours. The people who got there a little bit later probably didn't have to wait quite as long. But yeah, it was a steady flow. They were bringing them in as quick as they could. But I told everyone there, yeah, there's several thousand people here, but I can pretty much guarantee there's going to be at least one or two people from this casting call that are in the Big Brother house this summer. So look around. You're playing the game right now. As soon as you start, there could be someone else in this line that's either going to be your best friend or your worst enemy come this summer. So you better be paying attention to it. You've got to think like that while you're trying out for these shows and getting in there. So yeah, I had people looking around and wondered what was going on. I think a lot of people there also thought maybe that Quinn and I were there as like spies for casting to see who was energetic. Maybe they're just energetic all the time because they certainly were excited when we talked to them. But yeah, no spies. We were just there to cheer y'all folks on and had a blast doing it. All right, let's see what else we've got on here. Oh, and besides Quinn and I, Brooklyn showed up at the end too. So I didn't want to leave Brooklyn out. She came in at the very end, which was fantastic. I hadn't met her yet either. Hunter Green is out there. Hunter. Good to see you yesterday. You know what's funny? Hunter showed up, and I'm pretty sure Hunter, correct me. I think I said you're Hunter, right? Just from what I know from talking to Hunter out here online and a few DMs and all, I already had an image of what Hunter was going to look like when he showed up. And he came through and had that image and just ramped it up just a little bit more like you need to do when you're trying out for Big Brother. Had not just any hat, had a maroon, a berry kind of hat, had an NFR, a rodeo, jacket on and everything, and just very much looking the part. So, yeah, y'all go out there. If you haven't met Hunter before, go out and look at my Instagram stories. Hunter's like the second or third one I posted this morning. And yeah, Hunter, man, if you get in that house, we had a rodeo cowboy. Now we need to get you in that house. And I'm always happy to have someone else with a cowboy hat in there. You would have so much support from us guys, Hunter. I'd be phenomenal. We just, instead of Cliff Notes, it'd be Hunter Notes in honor of you for the summer. And I'd be happy to do it. Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. So yeah, there were a lot of people there that I would be very excited to see in that house because they were some wild and crazy people. All right, the production staff commented on my outfit. Well, I'm not the least bit surprised, and y'all know that's the thing. And I tell a lot of people when you're trying out, figure out what makes you stand out from everyone else, and then emphasize that. And when I say that, lots of times I'm thinking about, oh yeah, for me, I said I'm a storyteller. I can talk to a rock and I can tell all kinds of stories. For other people, it might be that they're sarcastic, they're dry wit, or something like that. We had people that were there that were part of the Mavs, the Dallas Mavericks Maniacs, a men's dance squad. They were wearing an outfit. Hunter was dressed up, very much showing, without having to say a word, showing who he is in a lot of ways. And that carries a lot of weight because you picture these production people that saw 1,000 people yesterday. And I guarantee they didn't see anyone dressed like Hunter. There's other people, they didn't see anyone dressed like them. So without even having to worry or think about what was said, you already have moved yourself up over some other people. So Hunter, well done, my friend. You took the assignment and you ran with it. And yeah, it'd be a lot of fun. I was so happy to see Hunter because Hunter was there almost as soon as I showed up. You were there and you were ready to go. So you had me fresh as well. Although I don't know, even at the very end, because when I did my casting call, I was the second person from the very end of the line. Right, I waited to the last minute and then I got in line because I really hadn't planned to try out. I was just there to see what kind of goofballs were trying out for the show, including myself, as it turns out. But because I waited to the very end before I got in line, so when I got to the back of the line yesterday, and these people who'd been waiting there for several hours, I told them, I said, look, yeah, they're saving the best for last. Y'all are right here at the end. I was at the end as well. So don't think that you don't have a fantastic chance even here at the very back. And got them all fired up as well. So yeah, just a lot of fun. A whole lot of fun. All right, let's see what we've got on here. Questions and comments. Let's see. Hold on a second. Sharon's giving me a note here, and she's laughing while she does it. All right, so now you got me got me excited to see what this shared. All right, Sharon said, Colby B, loved meeting you in line. Said look, people are trying to look like other contestants. What's that, Sharon? Seeing you and Quinn. Oh, seeing me and seeing me and Quinn. That people, if I understand correct, people were thinking other people were trying to dress up like Quinn and I. Yeah, that actually would be pretty funny if you did that. Quinn and I, we both, first of all, Quinn and I are both super fans. So it doesn't surprise me. And Quinn said the same thing. No one asked him to show up. He just wanted to show up to cheer people on as well. So we were thinking the same way. We're both passionate about Big Brother. Quinn showed up, man. He was dressed to the nines. He had fancy pants on and white dress shoes. And just very fashionable. I showed up in my jeans and I had a flowery shirt and everything. I tried to impress as well, but yeah, we both showed up, and it was fun when I first showed up because I came in and where I was at the back of the line. And I thought, all right, if I walk in right here, I'll never make it to the front because I'm going to be talking to people the whole time. So I actually didn't go down those stairs. I walked all the way around this whole venue so I could come in from the front and start at the very front. And basically, Quinn and I never left the front 30 feet or so of the line. We just talked to people as they came into that little area. But it was fun when you walk in, and I heard them do it to Quinn. I heard them do it to myself. When we kind of walked in, we could hear people in the back, yay, yelling and hollering. And so, yeah, we had a blast. There was no way I could leave early and not talk to everyone who was in that line. I would never do that at all. Jessica Marsh is saying, someone close to me had a second interview with BB casting. See, it happens. It truly happens. For those of you who don't know, I don't know if I've ever told the story. When I did mine, it was on a Saturday. The line shut down at 3. They told us, they said, if we're gonna contact you right now, you're probably going to hear from us by 9 o'clock tomorrow night. If by 9 o'clock you haven't heard from us, there's still a possibility. We may still reach out later, but at least as far as a first consideration, if you haven't heard from us by 9, it may not be happening right now, but don't give up hope. It still could, but it probably not as likely. All right, well, that's fine. I hadn't really figured I was going to make the show anyway. I was just doing it to embarrass my kids and have a fun story to tell. But even having said that, about 8:30 or so that night, I'm looking at my watch, telling Sharon, saying, yeah, maybe not so much. 9 o'clock comes. And I said, all right, well, it was cool, but I guess they're not going to call. Like 2 minutes later, 9:02, 9:05, something like that, the phone rings. My job. I looked at Sharon. I said, do you think that's Big Brother? And she said, I know it's Big Brother. I answered the phone. Hi, this is Cliff. Hey, Cliff, this is Danny from Big Brother Casting. How are you? Well, I'm doing pretty well right now, Danny. And so that's the thing. So they contacted me the next day, had me come into a long videotape to get to know more a whole lot more about me after the couple of minutes I had with them. But yeah, so congratulations. I mean, that's cool. We've already had some people from that casting that have been contacted. That's what I love to hear. Michelle said, who is Quinn? Quinn was last season. Long hair. He's a nurse, is a physical therapy assistant. I'm probably screwing that up completely, but he works in healthcare. And he's up from Lawton, Oklahoma. His pics on Instagram. Yeah, his pics on my Instagram story. But he was on Big Brother last season. He was friends with Leah. He kind of had a crush on Leah. He tried to work with Angela. He's one of the ones that she accused of being Beeline movie actors or whatever at the very beginning. Very passionate. He was kind of bros with Joseph Rodriguez a little bit. He made it into the jury. Didn't make it to the very end, but he certainly made his mark in the game. Won an HOH, won a power to control some stuff, and also, yeah. But more than all of that, Quinn is a super fan. He knows everything about the game. And it's funny. Someone asked me, who are your favorite players of the past in Big Brother? I said, well, it kind of depends. Are you saying who's my favorite to watch? Who's my favorite from a strategy standpoint? Because they're very different answers. I basically told them what I've said to a lot of other people. From a strategy standpoint, among non-winners, strategy standpoint, I always thought Vanessa Russo was kind of a fun one to watch play the game. In terms of diary room sessions, Brittany Haynes with her diary rooms are just incredible TV. I've always loved that. In terms of just likability, there's so many. Donnie Thompson, Johnny Mack. I could go on with a bunch, but I had my list. And then they asked Quinn, said, who are your favorite past players? And he said, I actually have a list on my phone. He started to pull it out and he was going to show it. And then all of a sudden he said, I need to show y'all in private. Sorry, Cliff. Yeah, no, it's all right. I don't mind not being on your top 10 list, Quinn, but he was I don't think he was really worried about that. We got a lot of respect, had a lot of fun with each other. But yeah, we have our favorites that we saw playing. I told Quinn, it's so cool that, you watch me and all that, and then I got to watch you and cheer you on. And here we both are doing this for the next round of people. And that there's people out there in line right now who don't know that they're going to be here a year from now talking to a new round of folks trying out for the show as well. So yeah, the circle of life, hold on the baby, circle of life or something. Jessica saying, My husband stood out because didn't look like an influencer. Yeah, a lot of folks that look like influencers stood out because he didn't look like an influencer. I think. I think. Any advice for second interview? It's interesting because the first interview, it was a lot more about very quickly presenting yourself. And when you do a video and you send it in, I think you have 3 minutes, right? Here you had 1 minute. Now, while they were talking to the camera, there was a producer that actually works for casting that was there taking notes. So it's not as though there aren't people paying attention right then and there. They were taking notes and marking everything. But you only have a minute to really convey as much as you can about who you are. So it's very much, what do you want to tell us about you? When you do a second interview, and again, mine was 6 years ago, so it could change, but I think it won't change that much. The second interview was a lot more them asking questions of me, trying to figure out what makes me tick. What was your life like? Where you said you traveled all over the world. Where have you traveled? What was the interesting stuff? And a whole lot more of a back and forth conversation as we went through. And I remember, God, we talked about everything. We talked about growing up. We talked about the fact that I was an incredibly shy kid growing up, which I think they found it hard to believe. I actually was. But we talked about growing up as a child. We talked about wearing the cowboy hat. I had to lift up my hat and show them that I wear the hat because I'm a Texan and not just because I'm bald trying to cover up a spot or anything like that. I mean, we talked. They tried to talk a little politics with me, which I thought was a little dangerous, but I talked a little bit thinking, all right, well, let them think I'll be a little controversial on the show and all that. We covered everything. We talked about living in Houston, about how I would play the game of Big Brother, how much I knew about the game. So I think for second interview, the advice to me would be go with the flow, be ready to talk about anything. Don't hold anything back, man. The more sensitive, the more emotional stuff that they ask you, go for it, throw it out there. Do the tear jerkers if you have to, whatever makes you the person that makes you. The main thing I think in that second interview is that you really have to make it a conversation with these guys who are sitting on the other side talking to you, because that's what they're looking for. They're gauging how you're going to be in the house. I remember we spent time just talking about living in Houston and me giving them advice on places to go visit and how they were wanting to know, do I wear a cowboy hat to work every day? Well, no, I don't, guys. So there's a lot of that kind of stuff of just them asking me stuff. And that's what you can expect in a second interview. All right, let's see. Karen Hummer saying, read The Amazing Race. Does anyone else get anxious when the couples fight? They seem to get over it quickly though. Yeah. And then, Ma said, one Jonathan and Anagon talking about couples fighting. Mad that Scott and Lori were eliminated over them too. And Karen said, me too, Ma. Yeah, let's talk about Amazing Race. That was a tough one. First of all, before we even talk about couples fighting and all of that, is that the first time that they've had everyone in person in front of everyone else vote on who has to do a U-turn? As far as I know, it is. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they had to vote, and the top two vote getters were the ones that had to do both sides of the U-turn, both carry a bunch of coconuts on a bicycle and then set up a coral reef kind of display thing and go put it in the water. And so they voted on who had to do both. Boy, you have that. It just starts upping that strategy just that much more. Remember, Jonathan and Anna were the ones who were so far ahead. They were in the driver's seat last week. They got to, spoiler alert, if you haven't watched this episode, just, bear with me. But the week before, they were in the driver's seat. They got the express pass. They used the express pass, which I thought was a mistake, and I think it showed today why that was or this last episode was a mistake. But they were most definitely literally in a driver's seat in a lot of ways. Well, not literally. Y'all know what I mean. Anyway, they were doing very well. Last episode, not so much. They ended up getting, because they had controlled everything the episode before, they got voted to having to do both sides of the U-turn. Again, it just makes it a whole lot tougher when you have something like this of throwing anyone under the bus. And if you're going to throw people under the bus, maybe you're more inclined now, knowing that you can have things like this, go after the people at the very bottom that may not have as much opportunity to go after you, I guess. But they ended up having to do both U-turns. So did Scott and Lori. And funniest thing, those are the two teams that were in the bottom at the end of it. And for those of you who may not remember or haven't seen and don't mind some spoilers, Jonathan and Anna just did not do that well, especially that is the U-turn wasn't great. He was exhausted. He kept saying he had a headache. We all get in those moods sometimes where you just don't want to talk to anyone. You just barely want to get it done. And that's where he was at. And then he had to get out on a surfboard and find a matching pattern. And he spent more time, it seems like, just laying on a surfboard, resting than actually doing the competition. And with all that being said, they weren't evicted. They weren't, I guess, retired from the race. They're in the last now, but no, it's Scott and Lori, the older couple from Salt Lake City, Utah, who finished up last. I got to say this. It's a shame they finished, but if I'm doing the Amazing Race and I come in last in any one leg, I'm going to take a little bit of comfort if it's because I had to do both legs of a U-turn, as opposed to just I couldn't follow directions, I went the wrong way, or I have no rhythm and I couldn't complete the dancing routine. Things like that. When it's a U-turn, there's a little more explanation, and you can say, well, yeah, it'd be an excuse. I say, yeah, it's because of U-turns why I didn't do well. But yeah, that U-turn really impacted the game last night, and Jonathan Anna is still alive. I don't know. And I've told y'all before on Big Brother, on Survivor, I'm not going to judge people based on just one little clip where they're in their most stressful moment. I don't know. It could be that Jonathan just doesn't handle not doing well. He doesn't handle it well. It could also be that he was dehydrated. His head really was killing him. He was, you get to a point where physically that race will do a number on you. It could just be that he wasn't resting because he was giving up, but he was just dead tired. So no beef with Jonathan. We'll see how he responds now that they're playing from last place, trying to fight ahead. I bet they're wishing they had the express pass now, don't you? They shouldn't have used it that week before, but you learn. Yeah, you absolutely learn. Good episode though. If I did Amazing Race, anytime I'm around the water, I'd be all in it. I want to do the water challenges. Put me on a surfboard, put me in snorkels, going underwater. I'm PADI certified for scuba diving. I could hold my own with those kind of competitions. Carrying coconuts up and down the beach, maybe not so much, but swimming in the water, planting coral, I could absolutely do some of those things. But Bali's cool. I've been to Indonesia. Bali's part of Indonesia, but I haven't been that far south to the fancy part. I've been in Jakarta, where there's 1 million people and 10 million bicycles, and they're all on the road at the same time. It seems like traffic is horrible up there, but never quite made it to Bali. I got so jealous. The last time I was in Indonesia, I was at the airport getting ready to leave, and half the people there are tourists that are flying to Bali, for landing in Jakarta, then taking another flight to Bali. So they're all dressed up in Hawaiian looking clothing, and just casual clothing, looking like they're so excited. And here I am in a business suit and have to do oil and gas stuff, and very much not on vacation. So yeah, it's a little bit jealous. I would have given quite a bit to have Sharon with me right then and there, and head down to the beaches for just a little bit. All right, Carol Mosher. Hey, Carol, how are you doing? Said, has anyone watched the Netflix Millionaire Game? Is that the $1 Million Secret? Oh, it is my new love. I told y'all last week at the very end, I'm going to say it again. If you have not watched Millionaire Secret, go check it out. Yeah, Carol, I hope if you're asking a question, I assume that you're enjoying it as well. It is a lot like Traders, but it's different because they're getting clues on who holds this secret $1 million and all that. And I'm not going to give any spoilers away, so I'm not going to talk about twist or anything else. Just the premise of the game at the very start is that all these people playing the game, one person has a treasure chest with $1 million in it. No one else knows who it is. It doesn't matter who has it at the start. It matters that at the end, whoever has the $1 million wins the $1 million. So there's a lot of inquisitive questioning and voting to see if you think you know who's got the $1 million, and tasks that you have to do to try to hold on to it. You just need to watch it, but it's actually very Ed's saying all caught up on it. I think they're dropping 3 episodes a week, so it's like the first 6 episodes are already out there, and we've got another 3. I think another 3, maybe another 6. I think just 3 more. But anyway, That's incredible. I really enjoy it because there's a lot of strategy with it. There's one guy on there I found out his name is Chris, and he's pretty good. I mean, he asks a lot of questions and he pays attention to the other people. I found out that Chris was made it all the way to the finals of Big Brother 2025. So not this past season, the season before with Jag and Bowie Jane and Matt and Sari and Jared. And all. He made it to the finals of that particular season, then didn't quite make it on to Big Brother. That would have been interesting to see him playing a game of Big Brother because he's paying attention. He's pretty good at this stuff. But instead, he made $1 Million Secret and having it's good TV to watch. Robin Cass, who used to do Big Brother casting when I was there, now she doesn't do Big Brother. Stopped doing it here in the U.S. They closed Big Brother Canada, which I'm still upset about. But she cast this show, $1 Million Secret. She did a heck of a job. They cast some great people, and I just think the rules of this game and everything are a lot of fun. I had so much fun at the casting call yesterday talking to people about different reality shows because a lot of people that were there have done different reality shows or have made it to the end of different reality shows. I talked to a guy who got a second call on Big Brother 10 years ago. 10 years ago. He tried out for the show. They called him the next day, but they called him early in the morning. He said he was sound asleep. They woke him up. As a result, he didn't sound nearly as enthusiastic as he should have. And they said, well, we just want to let you know we're thinking about you and we may be calling back. And they basically shut him off because he was, what's going on? He never heard a word from him. He's been trying for 10 years since then to get back in and make it happen. And so he had asked me, should I mention that? I said, heck yeah, mention that. Tell him that they called you once. You haven't heard from them since. But talk to him a little bit. I talked to a guy who, I talked to a woman who was a finalist on Extracted. For those of you who aren't watching Extracted, I think it's on Fox. It's an incredible show. It's kind of like Alone or something, or Naked and Afraid. One person is trying to survive out in the woods without a whole lot of food or shelter or anything, but they have two family members that are back in headquarters that kind of strategize and compete against other family members from other teams or other people to decide who gets sleeping bags and food and all of that. Well, I talked to her and she was up until a week before they started filming. She thought she was going to be on the show. She was going to be out in the woods and her sister and grandmother were going to be the ones back at headquarters trying to negotiate deals and stuff for her. And so basically she made it to the finals and she was like an alternate, one of the last people who got cut before they filmed it. So that was kind of cool talking to her. I found out that they knew almost nothing about this game before they played it. She said, we knew that basically one person was going to be out in the wilderness trying to survive, that they would have limited food and shelter and things like that. And the other two people would be back in a safer place, helping them do better. And she said, that's all we knew. We didn't know about rules, people, nothing else on this game. And so it was very much a mystery. So she's been watching and we had a lot of fun talking about Extracted. All right, let's see what else we've got on here. Patricia Miller saying, any idea when Big Brother will start? Yeah, I don't know yet. When I did it, my season, we started mid-June, but it seems like for the past few years, starting with All Stars. So right after my season with COVID and everything, it started a little bit later. Then you had the writer's strike, and it just for various reasons, the season starting later. And I think there's been enough seasons like that they've kind of gotten into the groove with it. I have nothing to go on other than past history of past few seasons. I expect it'll premiere probably the first Tuesday or Wednesday after the 4th of July, whatever day the 4th of July is. Take that next Tuesday or Wednesday. And that would be my guess for when you may have a premiere. Maybe that's Sunday. I don't know. But the week following 4th of July is probably a decent time to start the season. My season was 99 days. Seems like they've toned that down a little bit by a couple of weeks because of the later start. So, start around the 4th of July, right after that, finish it up maybe the first week of September, something like that. Best guess. They may change it completely. But yeah, I would expect that probably to be the situation. So we're not there yet, but we're getting closer. And as I mentioned, they did one casting call. There's another one in Virginia. I just heard there's going to be one in New York as well. They're taking videotape. I guess you don't do videos anymore, or videotapes, but that certainly record your audition and send it in. They're doing that as well. Lynn Gideon is saying, hope they sucked heavily from open casting and video submissions and much less from recruits. Yeah, I know. I was the same way. When I was in the Big Brother house, I gotta say, I right off the bat identified who the recruits were in the game, and basically said, it's not that it's not that I'm in a hurry to boot them out. It's just I'm not going to care as much if they go home earlier because they don't have as much invested into it. If you're a super fan, if you went to the trouble of submitting a video to get in that house, of showing up at a casting call and standing in line for 6 hours, if you've been watching the show for the last 20 years, you've got more invested emotionally in playing the game of Big Brother. And I want to reward people like that. So folks like Christy and Tommy, and yeah, I was a huge fan. Nicole was a fan. Those are the people I wanted to do well. We had some recruits. Who were recruits? Kat Dunn was a recruit. David was a recruit. Kimmy was a recruit. I think was Sis a recruit? I can't remember. Holly was a recruit. Yeah, and some of them was like, all right, well, I don't think it's gonna hit you as hard if you're out of there as much as other people. Kat especially, she was in there because I knew she was a social influencer. She talked in the very beginning that she just was there because she wanted to learn how to do her social influencing better, and it was all basically about follows. And I thought, God, she's from Texas. I should be aligned with her and all of that, and I will if it helps me. But she's here for all the wrong reasons. So really, first week, which was before we had live feeds and everything, I was like, gosh, she may not quite be suited for this game. Give credit to the cat. She figured it out. By the second or third week, she started playing the game. She started having little secret alliances and playing little sneaky games here and there. And she's turned, are you bitches conspiring against me? At first, people heard that in the house. And they're like, God, all she does is get paranoid. And it was very irritating. She turned it into a joke. And after a while, we started laughing about it because she was kind of laughing at herself. And we were all, she figured out how to play the game and ended up playing an incredible game. And then later I figured out, yeah, she may have been a recruit, but she was incredibly brilliant about playing that game as well. So props to you, Kat. But yeah, in the beginning, I was like, yeah, I'm going to send her out. She's just a social influencer. I agree with you. The fewer recruits, the better. Having said that, I do think there's something to be said sometimes for getting some people in there who don't know a whole lot about the game, because sometimes they'll treat it a little bit differently. As long as they eventually get the right objectives. When I did my little diary room session, pre-session cast introduction with Jeff Schroeder, I know one of the things I said was, yeah, I'm not here to hawk t-shirts. I'm not here to gain social influences. I'm here to win the game. And I truly felt I wasn't directing that at anyone in particular. I just was trying to point out that I want people in here for the right reasons. And those are always the ones that I'm going to tend to cheer for when we play this game. So yeah, bring on the folks that are passionate about the game of Big Brother, and let's see what happens with it. All right, let's see what else we've got on here. Ed McMillan saying $1 million bucks. Yeah, $1 million secret is legit money, 4 times the trader money. Yeah, some of these shows pay a lot, right? And they've got games like Beast Games as well. Cass Wash is saying, would love to see traders play for $1 million. I would too. You know who else I'd love to see play for $1 million? Big Brother. Why is it we only get $750,000 and Survivor gets $1 million? I know they're out there eating rice and having to go to the bathroom in the ocean and all kinds of things like that, sleep in the sand and whatever. They only have to do it for 29 days. I had to do it for 93 days and almost 99 days. So yeah, give us $1 million as well. But you're right. It's funny when you go from CBS to Netflix. Of course, even I think $1 Million Secrets, Netflix. I think it's Peacock that has traders. So maybe it's the networks a little bit. It is funny. Every show's a little different in terms of prize money on it. It's funny. Sharon and I spent Friday and Saturday night binge watching the first 5 or 6 episodes of The Apprentice season 1. The season my brother Bowie was on. It's out there on Netflix. I think it's Netflix. Anyway, one of the streaming services has The Apprentice now. So we watched it as standard definition TV. It's definitely old school, but we watched Bowie out there looking so much younger than he is now. But it is amazing, and we talked about this yesterday a little bit. It is amazing the difference in reality TV before social media and after social media. Beforehand, everyone much more focused on playing the game and trying to have a good presence in front of Donald Trump, it's all focused on the game itself, it seems like. Whereas now you've got a lot of people that have accessory objectives when they play this game. And you also have a lot of people that spend a lot more time having to worry about how they're going to be viewed on social media based on how they play the game. It's a little bit like Survivor. And we haven't even talked about this tonight. I was really interested that Survivor. Yeah, we also binge watched the first season of Survivor. Sharing an idea. We kind of old school this weekend, but we watched a little bit of the old season with Richard Hatch and Susan Hall. Oh my God, Sonia, first person ever voted out of Survivor ever, and then EB I think was his name, or BB or whatever. It's cool watching the first season, but I will say it was kind of cool Survivor watching. I think it was David and Joe talking. And they were saying, look, these past few seasons, all these people are saying that you got to play this sneaky, dishonest game. You got to stab people in the back. Let's not do that. Let's just get all the strong people together. Let's just be honest. Let's be loyal to each other. None of this other stuff. Let's just play to the end and play a different kind of game than they've played for the past 5, 6, 10 years, whatever it is, 10 seasons. And I gotta say, on the one hand, I feel like David was a little bit too he was discounting too much the people who play strategy games, thinking it's all about the people who win the competitions. That's not what Survivor's about. It's part of it. I mean, you win games, outwit, outlast, outplay. They're not saying anything about outmuscle the other folks. That's one component of the game of Survivor, but there's a lot more to it. Strategy is huge, so I disagree with them on that part. But I did like that they were looking at this saying, why do people think that we have to betray people in order to win the game of Big Brother? Now, having said all of that, and they're all kumbaya right now, it's easy to do that when you feel like you've got the game in hand because you're all the rough and tough and buff guys and gals. It'll be a little different if it goes like that for a little while and eventually they have to turn on each other. You may still see it revert back to some of the gameplay that we've seen in the past few seasons. But I do love the fact that they were at least recognizing what I also recognize, that people just feel like it's almost a requirement now that you screw over other people in order to show that you're willing to do what it takes to win this game. Nah, that's not the case. I felt like that on Big Brother too. I think it's more, if you have to do that to win, go for it. But if you can win the game without having to betray and screw over people, well, then gold star to you. That just means that you did even better in the way that you played the game of Big Brother. I never went in saying I was going to try to screw someone over just for the sake of doing it. It was, if I had to do it, it was, a typical example. When Kat and I were both on the block together, I wasn't trying to get her out. I didn't have any I wasn't trying to build a resume by trying to work a deal that saved me and got her out. It wasn't that type of deal. It was just pure survival at that point in time. I made the deals when I had to, but I like the idea that someone maybe can get to the end and play a somewhat ethical game, at least, right? There's something to be said for that. All right. Brian Beach is saying, wish you were on the next season of The Amazing Race that's filming now. Yeah, me too. That would have been a lot of fun. I've heard little bits and pieces. I'm not going to talk about it here because there's spoilers, but I've heard little bits and pieces about where they're at and all. It's pretty cool. I would have been all up for it. All right. Tim Pipe is saying, we need a good prankster on this Big Brother season. See if they can fill your shoes. Yeah, someone else mentioned that while I was in line yesterday, and I guess I did a few. I was just bored in the house. God, I was so bored in the house, and I did have some people say that watched the live feeds how boring it got, and occasionally my pranks were, having a little fun. We did dumb pranks. I mean, there were some things that were very not amateurish, just very simplistic because you don't have a whole lot to work in there. Putting shaving cream in someone's shoes. I know I got Christy a few times like that. The ones I enjoyed was taking all the dryer lint, taking some fishing line and wrapping around it so it looked like a rat, and then pulling it across the kitchen floor. I got Nick and Jackson Mickey with that. They both jumped. Hey, they squealed like little girls. That was kind of funny. Got them with that. Christy had a half drunk Coke that had kind of melted. I went and put a bouillon cube in her drink, and sure enough, it was a long prank because it took about an hour before she came back and got her drink and walked off. And sure enough, about 2 or 3 minutes later, I hear her screaming and hollering. And so Yeah, we had some fun with all that. I hit a few times and scared people and did things like that. You got to do some stuff to have fun in that house. Of course, having said that, I really wasn't any different in terms of my pranks than I am in real life. My kids will say, "Yeah, man, forget that. He does those kind of pranks while we're here at the house." So it's not anything about being bored. That's just dad. And that probably is the case. Yeah, I have fun with that. I'd like to think that my pranks are harmless until someone jumps out of the way of a rat and breaks their foot or something. But for the most part, they're harmless pranks. But yeah, I had some fun with some of that. So yes, I would love to see another prankster in the house. Have we had a good prankster since I was in there? I don't know. I remember James Hewling did some pranks. I did some pranks. I can't remember anyone here recently doing a lot. I mean, there's some people hiding and jumping out and scaring people, but yeah, I'm all for the people that are trying to make the best of their time while they're in there. Let's a little Survivor real quick since we were talking about that. We talked about the change in strategy. I love seeing that. I love seeing David and Joe talk about how they drink gallons and gallons of milk a week. Yeah, those guys are. I'm getting more and more fond of them. That birds of a feather. I'm all ready for that. Cindy Hire saying that thought Say should have gone home, and Ed saying I like Say. She's good TV. She is fantastic TV. She is a little. I still think she's a little bit like Tucker from last season of Big Brother. She's just so playing the game so hard that I feel like she may burn out if she's not careful. Even this last episode of Survivor, she got to go on she won the special reward that gave her an advantage on the challenge itself, the reward challenge. Who did she beat to get that? I can't remember now, but she kind of just outran someone else and grabbed it, which, fine, go for it, get what you can in terms of those things. But yeah, man, you do things like that. You always run the risk of burning bridges. And we didn't see what happened afterwards in terms of their conversations, but she got to go on a reward challenge and just eat her fill of everything. I gotta say, that food looks so good. Someone's holding a brownie. I got hungry right now, and I haven't been out starving for the last 20 something days. But she came back and she told everyone all the food they had and looked very satiated with all the food. I'd be very careful about telling people who were starving and rationing out rice all the incredible food that I just ate. I think that's very dangerous to do, but she did, and they seems like they took it okay. But yeah, she definitely was on the hot spot last episode, right? She came close, but in the end, was it Charity that went? It's interesting. You've got this strong alliance that seems like they want to work together. You've got, is it Siva 6 strong and all of that? Then, so you've got some different groups, and I'm not sure if the old tribes are going to end up working together, or it's the strong and buff people, or exactly how it's going to work. But regardless of which way it worked, Charity is kind of just not in any part of any of it, and paid the price. So yeah, it was, when you have 13 people at tribal council, it's tough to even keep track. I don't know how you reach any kind of, well, I was going to say how you reach a consensus. They didn't, because they voted, was it 6-4 to or 6-5 or 6-4 Charity, and then Say for whatever reason voted for Cedric. I'm not sure what her thinking was. I'd love to find out a little bit more. Martino Williams is saying Say probably isn't winning Survivor. I think you're probably right, Martino, although if she could make it to the final 3, fire building and arguing and all before the jury and all that, if she makes it to that point, I may give it to her, because if you can play this game that hard and make it to the end, you deserve it. I absolutely think you deserve it. So yeah, she's got a little hard spot here that she needs to get through. And I think she recognized that. Props to Say for realizing. She said, I've played so hard on my past island, the past beach. Now that we're all merged together, she said, I'm going to try to back off and not play that same kind of game. So I think she recognizes it. I think she's a brilliant strategic player. I just personally think she's playing a little too hard, but maybe she does too. And so maybe we'll see something change. The die may already be cast, the fact that so many votes were cast against her, but we'll find out. Ma is saying Eva is winning. They were talking about Eva a little bit as well. And then Paul is saying Team Eva. The only thing I worry about that, if she won, based on right now, give it to her. I mean, I don't have any problem with her winning, her or Joe, either one. But because Joe and Eva are so tight, I do feel, because they talked about Eva in this last episode, saying, Saya wanted to get Eva out, was mentioning Eva's name over and over. And A lot of people are saying, yeah, but Charity they kept saying she's an easy first vote. No one wants to make waves in the beginning. Let's just vote her out so we don't upset anyone. And we'll figure out the loyalties as we go a little more into this big tribe. I think once they go a little bit further, you're going to reach a point where people see Joe and Eva as a very strong duo. And why would we allow two people that are that tight with each other to make it to the very end? So I think as a result, you're going to eventually reach maybe final 5 or 6, something like that, where someone's going to go after either Joe or Eva. And I feel like Joe maybe tends to win a few more challenges, so may have protection that Eva wouldn't have. Of course, she's got immunity idol. So we'll see how it goes. But props to her for playing the game so far and being such a part of this game. All right, Tracy Muckenfuss. Hey, Tracy, how are you doing? I didn't see your name out there earlier. What Big Brother season were you on? I was on season 21. And season 21, 2019 was the year. I was the last season before COVID shut everything down. I was the last season before the second All-Star season, which had David and Nicole from my season, and Cody and Nicole Franzel and Tyler and Davon and Bailey and all of them. So yeah, I was season 21. Now they're on 27. Is that not incredible? Ed saying, no, you were never on slop, but could you anything else as a have not? Yes. And first of all, yeah, someone asked that yesterday as well. I was never on slop because we had a very unique situation during my season. We only had 2 weeks of have-nots. Is that not incredible? Only 2 weeks. The first week of have-nots was when I was HOH, so I was not eligible to be a have-not, and so I didn't have any choice. And they asked for volunteers, and Mickey and Kat, I can't remember who all volunteered at that point. But anyway, so we had 1 week of have-nots. The second week, the have-nots were based on the first few people who fell off the Poised on Ivy HOH challenge, which I didn't get to compete in since I was HOH. So I wasn't eligible to be have-not on either of the first only 2 weeks of have-nots that we had. But then after 2 weeks, they shut it down. And I've heard rumors that, a lot of people said that Jackson Mickey was eating in the shower. I was upstairs showering, so I didn't see it. So I don't know, but that's been the rumor. All kinds of rumors about why they shut down have-nots, which I don't really know to this day. No one ever told me, but yeah, we only had it for 2 weeks. That was it. Someone said he did. I'm not saying he didn't. I've seen videos as well. I've also had people say, do you think if he could get away with it, he would? Well, hell yes, he would. He did. Mickey was all about the food. So yeah, if he could eat on the shower, I don't put it past him. I'm sure it happened. I just wasn't there, so I'm not going to attorney. Allegedly, right? But yeah, he did. But no, so we only had 2 weeks of have-nots. But to answer the original question, yes, you can have other items. You can have condiments. So I guess you could have slop and I guess sugar and ketchup. I think pickles was one of the things that you could have. So there's some milk, salt, whatever. So there's things that you can have that would be considered things you add to other food, which would be allowable. I'm kind of thinking as long as you gave me some brown sugar and some butter, I could get that slop. And I tried the slop. It wasn't bad. It just was take the most pasty, non-tasting oatmeal that you ever had. And that's what it was. It was just pasty and tasteless and just stick to the roof of your mouth. There wasn't anything great about it. But it didn't taste bad. It's just it meant you couldn't eat other regular food while no charcuterie boards, Angela, while you're a have-not and all of that. But yeah, so there are things that you can add to it. And people tried to cook it up and all. Man, I'd just be eating it like oatmeal all day long. It would have been okay. All right, Martino Williams is saying, Cliff should have won Big Brother 21. I tried. I gave every win or lose, whether people question my decision making or not. I hope everyone understands, man, I fought to the end. I did everything possible to win that. And I did come pretty close. So I'm pretty proud of my game. Daniel De Jesus is saying, Cliff Notes. Well, thank you. I had a lot of people who said they watched Cliff Notes. A lot of them watched it while I was in the house. A lot of them watched it on my YouTube show, this right here as well. I love you guys. I appreciate the support in both directions. I told people there, just like going up and cheering everyone on yesterday, I didn't get paid a penny for it. The producers did, the casting people did bring me a bottled water because they saw I was getting a little raspy. But other than that, Quinn and I didn't get paid we didn't get paid anything. It was purely just a labor of love because we wanted to cheer folks on. And it's the same way with doing this YouTube channel. It's not about trying to get a little money or anything. It's just about having fun talking about Big Brother reality TV and getting to hang with you guys for a little bit. So as horrible as COVID was, the good thing came out of it is I had nothing to do with that next year, and I got to start this show, and it was perfect. I love doing it, and I wouldn't be able to do it without you guys. So thank you as well. All right, Tracy's saying 2019 feels like yesterday and 100 years ago. Crazy, right? Do y'all remember? It does seem like 100 years ago that we were stuck in a house for a year. Just Big Brother Part 2 for me. Yeah, it seems like forever ago. I don't know. And the people, y'all who were in school and now you're in college, you're working, whatever. Y'all are gonna have stories for your kids and your grandkids forever about, yeah, did you know we were locked away for a year and didn't even leave the house? We didn't do anything for a solid year. Of course, 20, 30 years from now, everyone's gonna say, so what? We got virtual reality. We're locked in. We got the cyber connection straight into our brain. We don't go outside anyway. We haven't gone outside in 3 years. Everything is done sitting in our little virtual pod, and we don't even move. We're like turtles stuck here. So they may not understand what it was like, but we do, right? Yeah, you're right. Five years ago, but it feels like forever. I don't think we'll ever go through that again. I truly don't. I hope we don't, because that was kind of miserable. But yeah, just another adventure in life. All right, let's see. What else do we have on here? We talked a little Amazing Race. We talked Survivor. We talked $1 Million Secret. We talked casting calls. Get your video in if you haven't done it already. I'm feeling inspired by all the people who are willing to put themselves out there. There were some people who, when I talked to them, it was very nice people, but probably not necessarily going on Big Brother. It didn't matter. They were still willing to go film something and put themselves out there and say, look at me, whoever I am, and consider me for the show. People who were very nervous, there are people who came afterwards and said, yeah, I froze when I was in there. Well, that's okay. You still were willing to go in there and do it. And I got so much respect for those folks. So I'm talking to you who haven't sent in your video yet. Now, if you're under the age of 21, all right, I give you wait a couple of years. But other than that, get out there, enjoy life, enjoy the journey, wherever it goes. All right, with that, guys, we're going to shut down because I got a basketball game to watch. Go Cougs. Why? I think they do something like, go Cougs. I'd love to see my hometown city win this thing. Guys, y'all have a fantastic week. If it's flooding where you are, turn around, don't drown. It's what we always say down here. Stay safe, you guys. Stay warm, stay cool. Wow, temperature's crazy. So have a great week. I will see y'all next week. Until then, SKD143. Cheers, my friends. I didn't say it before, but if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please consider doing so. Turning on the notifications, hitting your thumbs up is always appreciated. Guys, y'all have a great week. We're in April. It's the pretty time of year. It's a 1 week or two of spring we get down here. So enjoy it. I will see y'all next Monday. Send me DMs. Let me know what's going on in your life. I'll talk to y'all next Monday. Until then, SKD143. Cheers, my friends. Bye. If I can hit the off button. We'll see y'all later, guys. Bye. Tip of the hat to all y'all.